Okay, we're going to start out by using about a 9-pound pork butt. Now, my husband is going to smoke this pork butt, but if you don't have a smoker, you can do this right in your own oven or in a roaster. Okay, I am going to start out by doing a dry rub on this pork butt, and you'll need some garlic and be really generous and sprinkle that garlic on. And now grab some paprika if you're following along, and we are going to put some paprika on this and be really generous with this. You want to put quite a bit of paprika on here. It gives it a nice smoky flavor. And now you'll need some sage. We're just going to sprinkle a light coating of that sage on this pork butt. And last but not least, you'll need some onion powder. And just put a generous amount on here. Now we're going to get our hands in it and massage those seasonings into that pork butt. Just rub it down really good. Now we're going to flip it over and do the same exact thing on the other side. But before you grab those spices, make sure to wash your hands, because if you don't, you've just contaminated your spices. Again, we're just going to repeat the same thing on the other side. And this is my husband's recipe, and you can't see him because he doesn't like to be on camera, but he is standing right behind me telling me exactly what he wants me to do. But I think we get to a point in this video where he does kind of show up a little bit. And he's such a great cook. I hate that he doesn't want to get in front of the camera. You would love him. He's a great guy. When I worked long hours away from home, my husband would cook and I would joke and call him my secret chef. Maybe we'll just call him that. This is the wood chips that he uses in his smoker. They are hickory chips. And you're going to soak these in water for 30 minutes at least before you put them in the smoker. So we took this outside. This is our electric smoker. Now we're going to put that pork butt in there. My husband's going to set the temp to 235 degrees, and you're going to cook this slow and low the entire time, which was about 10 to 10 and a half hours. And of course, it always depends on the size of your pork butt. And you always want to check it with a meat thermometer to make sure it's done. And back to the wood chips. This little contraption here came out of the smoker, and I am putting the wood chips in this. And you want to pack that pretty full. Get as much as you can in there. And now we're going to put this chip holder contraption in this little slot. And you want to make sure that you keep soaking the other wood chips because you're going to need them. I actually found out from my husband, which I found interesting, that this meat, some people argue about this, but really it gets most of the smoke in it the first couple of hours, so you want to keep that smoke rolling. So he had to keep feeding the wood chips, and he's actually giving me a little lesson on the smoker and how it works, and I found it pretty interesting. But he probably will be the one doing the smoking around here because he does a great job. Why ruin a good thing? And you just turn it 360 degrees and it dumps back into the chip holder. Okay, so after about 2 hours, after it, he continuously fed the chips in there and kept it smoking. After 2 hours, he stopped feeding the chips into the smoker and he wrapped this pork butt up in tinfoil, aluminum foil, and he put it back in the smoker. Cook this on 235 degrees for another 8 to 8.5 hours. Again, you always want to check it with that thermometer to make sure it's done. And voila, this is done and this is beautiful. He also wanted me to tell all of you that once you get this out, you need to let it sit and cool down, because when it starts cooling down, that's when the meat starts breaking down and gets really tender. And then you can shred it and make some great barbecue. And we actually took this somewhere, so I couldn't pull it apart and show you just how tender it really was.